Okay, good afternoon. We're up here at about 7,400 feet. You're looking at Mount Lassen over there. It's the side of the peak that they exploded in 1917 or 18, whenever that was. Very large explosion, by the way, though. You know, it's that andesitic lava that is quite viscous, plugs up pretty easily, and of course leads to more violent volcanic eruptions. I want to show you this plant right here. It's an aquatic plant. It's in the genus Ranunculus. The buttercups. Whole family is considered to be relatively ancient. Let's get up close and check out one of the flowers. But first off, I want to show you this foliage. I mean, it does look like a true aquarium dweller. Look at it, the lacy linear foliage, quite adapted to being submerged. Which most of the time this plant is completely submerged in water. Let's get up close, check out the flowers. So there you go. You got the 5 petals, and you got all those stamens surrounding that ovary, laminar stamens. Okay, almost sessile, barely a filament there, holding those anthers up. Whole flower's about less than 10 millimeters. Less than 10 millimeters in diameter. Yeah, there you go. There's some nice footage of those leaves. Just looking like any old aquarium plant. Ranunculus aquatilis. You know, and further back in this little creek, we saw just whole mats of this stuff, but with no flowers on them. It's thought that when angiosperms first evolved, they were aquatic. Who knows? Maybe in keeping with the tradition. This goddamn ranunculus is it's very odd. Very odd. I've seen it before growing in a creek. It was actually, one of the flowers was blooming underwater, which especially surprised me. Then here we got a little monkey flower, little species of Diplacus. Look at that, barely an inch tall. Oh look, you got whole colonies of that damn ranunculus right there. See that? That's all that ranunculus. Let's take a little closer look and see what it looks like. Little pom-poms. Oh, yeah. Just kind of a non-distinct aquatic plant, you know. Some you might see a plastic rendition of in a pet store, you know, for somebody's aquarium. Look at those roots. Fucking weird. So I'll just send that guy on his way. Maybe he'll settle somewhere else. Time to relocate. The smoke just cleared. The smoke just blew away from that mountain over there. Anyway, let's look at this over here. Got a endemic plant, an endemic paintbrush. This is Cattleya lassenensis. Okay, of course, parasitic, like most paintbrushes, in the Bancaceae, which is a family of almost entirely obligate parasites. So there's an individual flower. You could see that. All Cattleya, of course, have bracts. See, there's a bract that looks like a petal, but it's not. And then up here, what the actual petals are in between those two white pink things, which I believe are the sepals. They might just be bracts. I think they're the sepals. And in between there, you got, see those 3 little curly things at the top of the green tube? Those are the 3 lower petals all fused together. And then you got the 2 upper petals all fused together. And poking out of those 2 upper petals, it looks like, you know, a couple of praying hands or something. You got the stigma, that little green stigma poking out, and then the anthers, of course, are just beneath that green stigma, enveloped in those 2 white petals that are fused together. Up there, you can see a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. So inside that little white thing, you got the stamens. 4 stamens, like all paintbrushes. And just, you know, really weird goddamn family of plants. Those bracts acting as attractants for the pollinators and whatnot. And of course, probably parasitizing these matted plants growing. They like to parasitize grass a lot too. You got a bunch grass right there. It's another plant going off in this beautiful mountain meadow at 7,000 feet. We got a species of gentian. Okay. 5 fused petals. Hey, get a little frilly around the margins though. Some little frilly appendages in between those petals fused into that corolla right there. There you got all the stamens. All the stamens going off nice. Deep down inside that corolla, of course, you got the stigma, style, and ovary in the center. Nice speckling on that perianth right there. And then, of course, you get those maroon striations. Tiny bastard, but he's still showy. Gentianaceae can be an odd family sometimes. Got some parasitic members in that family too. Oh, here we are on some of the youngest rock, most recently created rock in California. Just a bunch of andesitic talus filled with pumice and whatnot. You got any pumice in there? No, it seems to be mostly just andesite. The smell here is pretty divine. It's all this lupinous. I believe this is Lupinus argenteus. Look at that. Just smells intoxicating. Very perfumey. Kind of like an Easter scent, huh? I guess it depends on what your Easter's been like, though. Some people have had some pretty bad Easters, I'm sure. Filled with all kinds of smells you don't want to think of. But for me, growing up, I think about the spring and whatnot in Chicago. I get that kind of hyacinthy smell, which is what these lupins smell like. Typical banner wings and keel over there. You got some Caliptridium as well, Montiaceae, the bitterroot family. There's those pea flowers of that lupin. Banner, that posterior petal, wings on either side, and then the keel, which is in between the two wings, if you could see it. Which is where, see, there's the top of the keel poking out. And that's where all the 10 stamens are, as well as the style. But yeah, it smells incredible. Very soothing. And again, the youngest rock in California. Some of the, quote, newest rock in California is right here. All just products of a volcanic eruption, within the last 100 to a couple thousand years. Hashtag shitty Easter. Literally. Did you ever have a shitty Easter? Huh? Tell me about it. Was it nasty? Was it fucking gross? Huh? It's something we can't talk about here. Anyway, here's another interesting plant. It's a perennial. You can see that woody stem. This is Eriogonum shastense, member of the buckwheat family. Where's those tiny flowers? Ooh. You see those? Those red anthers in there. Red anthers, white corolla, lanceolate leaves. Ooh. Growing at 8,600 feet on the side of a goddamn volcano. Hashtag ShittyEaster.com. Okay, so we're almost up to the Alpine zone. We're above 8,500 feet. You can see the dominant tree here is this mountain hemlock, Tsuga mertensiana. Got kind of blue leaves to it. That Lupinus argenteus is still right there. As well as a Phylodoche breweri, one of the heaths, Asteraceae. Over there you got some Abies magnifica, red fir. Let's take a look at this mountain hemlock, though. Now, the higher in latitude you go, the less you have to climb to get to this tree. But here, the latitude we're at in Northern California, you need at least, I don't know, at least 6,000 feet or above. Sometimes even more than that. But look at those very blue leaves. And then the cones are these little pendant, papery bastards. If I can find one for you right here. There you go. There's an old one, but, still relatively in one piece. Looks like somebody nibbled on the tip there, but they don't get that big. Of course, the seeds, like most members of the pine family, got a little wing on them. And it's kind of helicopter out of these cones when they mature. Tsuga mertensiana, there you go. Some of them end up being very weeping. the older ones, kind of like a weeping little hemlock, but these are still pretty young. Again, though, they got a short growing season up here, and they probably get blasted by the wind as well as the snow. Okay, so here's one of the more finer and showy plants that the Volcanic legacy has to offer. Kind of like the transition between the northern Sierra Nevada and the Cascade system right here. This is Cactus nevadensis. Look at these goddamn flower heads. Okay, Asteraceae, of course, is the family. You got that bluish, woolly foliage. Okay, dissected leaves, nice. And then the goddamn individual florets on that corolla are, they age red. They age this nice, showy red pink. Okay? Each one of those little flowers, of course, being an individual floret in that capitulum. There you can see the ones that are open right now are white. And then, that color's incredible. And this guy's a perennial. He's a perennial Cactus. You might know the genus Cactus from the Mojave Desert, and a lot of them down there are annuals. You know, they're only alive for a handful of months, 3 or 4 months. This guy, of course, has a woolly base. He's got a woolly base down there. Those goddamn flower heads are just incredible, though. Nice capitulum. Look at that capitulum. Oh, look at it. Look, seems like we got some pumice right there. Pumice being created just by the presence of gas bubbles, creating a frothier and a much less dense rock. Again, high silica, though. They're andesite or rhyolite. Look at that stuff. Got some phenocryst in there, it looks like. Here that are just little bits of partially melted rock that were caught up in the matrix of lava when it was blown out of the fucking vent over there. Oh, speaking of the vent, got a nice wildfire over there. Got bet $5 it was human caused. Anyway, here we go. Here's a species of Micranthes. Saxifragiaceae is the family. Little succulent bastard, just hiding out under the rocks, hiding out under the boulders. Micranthes tomii, look at it, there's the fruits on it, you can see. 2 little carpels side by side. Looking like little horns. This thing's just about finished flowering. How many stamens we got on there? Stamens with red anthers. Seem to be 10 or so. Stamens just coming up. Are they alternipetals? Are they coming up in between the petals, or are they? I fucking can't tell. I can barely see them there. And then you get kind of succulent foliage. Look at it. That's nice. That's pretty good, huh? This plant is sponsored by Mama Luna's Pizza over there on West Belmont. Okay, don't call it deep dish. Call it stuffed, or else they might engage in an act of violence against you. They certainly won't sell you any fucking pizza. Gotta call it stuffed, not deep dish. But I call it deep dish to myself sometimes, as well as when I'm sharing it with Jack. What do you think of that? Just love the feeling of pumice beneath my feet. How about that? Look at that. Yeah, it's kind of glassy. Lots of silica in there, huh? Pretty glassy. Pretty interesting buckwheat over here. Eriogonum pyrolifolium. Now you can also see this delicate bastard. You can see him on Mount Shasta as well, if you go up there. Seems to like the volcanic talus. Let's get up close, check out the flowers. Oh yeah, little brown anthers. Corolla's aging to pink. And he's got the foliage that looks like it was made out of rubber. Rubber. Just for slapping you around. For when you've been bad. Have you been bad, huh? Probably. You've probably been very bad. And you need to be punished in the Eriogonum dungeon. And we'll take you there soon. You can lose your mind as you try to key out and identify all 300 or 400 species in Western North America. This, I do have to remark, this flower does not smell good. It smells like dog balls, kind of, you know? Or maybe like more like a rotting dog's mouth, okay? Jack, are you hearing this, huh? You think I'm taking a swipe at you? No, I love you. I'm just kidding. But it's a very heinous smell to this flower. It must be pollinated by flies. Here's another banger. Davis's knotweed, Conigia davisii, Polygonaceae, same family as that buckwheat I just showed you, that Eriogonum. Check out the segmented stems. See that? They got the ochrea, that little sheath right there. Flowers on this are tiny. Let's see if there's still any going off. No, looks like they might have. They might all be done. I think they're done. These guys love. You always see these. They're very common in where you got the volcanic scree, the volcanic talus, like so. Okay, get a lot of them in Modoc County too, which is Modoc County is the epitome of the volcanic legacy. Yeah, you just seen looked like some shit flies landing on that Eriogonum right there, which makes sense because it does smell like feet. Holy shit! It's perennial, got a woody root down there, and just top dies every year and stays alive beneath the talus. There's Mount Lassen. You can see the other side is what blew up in 1918. So remember I was talking about Polygonum and how that genus has the ochrea, that papery sheath, and the stem segments. Well, Eriogonum is in the same family as that, but it's in a different subfamily, and the entire subfamily lacks ochrea. Anyway, this is Eriogonum and canum. You can see the flowers kind of age as they turn red as they age. Turn a bright red, start off yellow, and then there's those leaves just covered in wool, forming a little mat up here at 9,000 feet. You can see it's everywhere. There's quite a few of them. Okay, up here at about 9,200 feet, we got Eriogonum rosense, little yellow bastard with a nice mat. Of course, woolly as all hell. Then over here, even more interesting, we got a campanula, one of the bellflowers, Campanula scabrella, just growing up right out of the talus. So take a closer look at those flowers over there. Got that three-lobed stigma right there. Like I believe all the bellflowers do. Campanulaceae is the family, Asteraceae is the order, same order as sunflowers. Just coming up in the talus. More of that Eriogonum. Got more lupin over there. And you got a bunch of snow, which Jack seems to have found. Huh? He's liking it because it can, it can satiate his appetite. He feels like he's eating something. Oh, you got some of the watermelon snow over there. What are you doing? Sometimes he likes to roll in it. I don't know what he's doing over there. And of course, here's that Canactus nevadensis again. Real showy bastard. You get these in the northern Sierra Nevada as well. Get those styles poking out of those inner florets. Remember all the sunflowers. The florets mature from the outside in. And of course, the styles go through the male phase first, and then go into the female phase. See that curly Q1 on the outside is receptive to pollen, and those ones that are just a Y shape are just starting to be receptive to pollen. They were presenting pollen before that. Secondary pollen presentation. The School of Secondary Pollen Presentation. The Barry Rabinowitz School of Secondary Pollen Presentation. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. Feel like I'm getting hypoxia. Feel a little lightheaded, And I think all of us just feel kind of listless and fucking apathetic after being quarantined for so long. I think we're all kind of about ready to fucking lose it, okay? No shame in that. No shame. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, Jack, don't do that. Quit digging, okay? Give you a slice of pizza later. Good boy. Here you go, more tails from the talus. Here's Ray Ardella, Argentea. See those woolly basal leaves? It's a scapose bastard. Okay, just kind of forms a little mat and then sends up, you know, a peduncle with a single capitulum on top. Okay, and it kind of smells. You can see the glands on this bastard too. Okay, all those terpenes and volatiles. Kind of smells like a Christmas tree. Does mildly smell like a species of abies, like one of the true firs. There's the, you can see those pappus, the fuzzy, the dandelion fuzz for the wind dispersal and whatnot to aid those achenes, those seeds. Got a nice connectus down there too. Nice connectus nevadensis. I can't get over how nice that flower looks. Those maroon peduncles and involucres. Oh, it looks like a nice little meadow down there. Probably full of lots of Castanea lassenensis. Anyway, here's another pretty rare one. This is a member of the Caryophyllaceae of the order Caryophyllales, same order as cactus, spinach, and beets. This is Silene Succulents. That it is a pretty goddamn weird species epithet. Who was Suxdorf? Or is it is this plant in reference to some sort of other physical act that can't be done? You know, I don't even know why I gotta take it there. Just juvenile toilet humor, you know. It's true, it doesn't ever get old with me. Okay? A grown man that has the sense of humor of a 9-year-old. But I mean, Jesus Christ, really? Suxdorfii? Really? Okay. Anyway, you can see it's just growing out of the crack in this piece of rhyolite there. Ooh, look at that bulbous lichen too. That's pretty nice. Just growing out the crack, lanceolate leaves. This is not a common plant. This is pretty rare. Silenes, of course, are infamous for having 3 styles, if you could see them in there. Many stamens in 3 styles. We have 10 stamens in 3 styles. And of course, look at the petal morphology too. Dissected like that. Pretty interesting. There's the sepals. Purple and glandular, striated. What are you doing? Why are you looking at me? You're always just lurking at me. Here we go. Here's another weird composite, another weird member of the sunflower family, Asteraceae. Here's Hosea nana. Most of the species in this genus are high elevation. And look at all that wool to deal with that harsh exposure and the more intense ultraviolet radiation due to the thinner atmosphere at up here at 9,200 feet. You also get some on Mount Shasta too. The next volcano north. Just can't get over how woolly that is. Oh, Jesus Christ, look at that. Topping out at about 4 inches. You can barely see the phyllaries, the phyllaries, because they're so just covered in wool. There's some, you can see the rays a little bit, those little daisy rays, the little yellow daisy rays. And there's a flower that hasn't emerged yet. Look at that nice maroon color to it. Shit gets weird up here at high elevations with that more intense exposure and the rocky talus. It's the perennial. Just the top dies every year and then it just comes back from the root. Herbaceous perennial. Now this guy's weird. This guy's a weird one. Okay? Look, it's a species of thistle. Do you like thistles? Huh? I kinda like thistles. Okay? As long as they're not invasive thistles. This is a Cirsium scariosum variety Americanum. Okay? And you could see it doesn't get any taller than that. Unlike most thistles, which are, of course, remember, are in the family Asteraceae, the sunflower family, these don't get any taller than this. They're just called the dinner plate thistle. Okay? Or a pancake thistle. Or a fucking hubcap thistle. You know? Whatever you want to call it, you get the gist of it. Okay? A non-cauline thistle. Okay? No stem. Non-cauline. Pretty fucking weird. And then, of course, there is the flower right there. Okay? Jesus Christ. Prickly bastard. And then there's it, the flower with just those long-ass styles poking out. Okay? Then, of course, you get cobweb thistle up here, too, which is red and hummingbird pollinated. But I don't think you get it up at 9,000 feet. Mostly see it a little bit lower. How do these... I can't even get in there. Just looking like a giant artichoke, basically. Which, again, is in the same family. Hard to really get close without stabbing myself. Oh, well. And there's the seeds. So you can see how they get around. You got the pappus. So there's an individual flora to that thistle over there. You can see I pulled that out. You got those 5 rather elongated corolla lobes on those white florets. The long style, and of course there's nectar at the bottom of that tube, just above where that pappus starts. The pappus being that dandelion fuzz, aka the wind dispersal mechanism that helps the seeds get around, helps the achenes get around once they're mature. You ever look closely at a thistle before, huh? Asshole. Okay, another high elevation pine you commonly see it crumholst, which means it's just been battered by the wind and is growing rather prostrate, you know, as opposed to upright. Like that one's growing pretty upright, but you get more on some of these ledges that are almost growing flush with the ground. Anyway, this is a Pinus albicaulis, the white bark pine. Needles in a bunch of 5. Needles and fascicles of 5. There's the cones. These trees, they got kind of an interesting ecology, a relationship with a bird called Clark's nutcracker. You come here during a mast year when there's just tons of cones on these trees, and there will be Clark's nutcrackers everywhere. You know, they take the seeds, they cache them, they store them somewhere, they forget where they put about half of them, and just by default they end up planting you know, white bark pine seeds everywhere. So, you know, seeds, of course, germinate the following year, and boom, you got new trees. Sad thing about this, though, this species is getting hammered by invasive non-native fungal blight that was brought over here. It's getting hit by Cronartium, what is it, rubicola, I think. Anyway, it's white pine blister rust is the common name. And it was brought over from Europe. You know, it's just almost all of the insect and fungal pathogens taking apart North American forests are non-native invasive species. So just, you know, more ammunition in the argument against the newbies that don't think that invasion. They don't understand how invasive species are a problem. You know, take one organism from a separate ecosystem that hasn't been sympatric, hasn't, you know, been and grown, lived in proximity to any of the organisms in that other ecosystem over millions of years, and has no checks and balances, and it just runs wild. And you're going to get extinctions. So hopefully these will be around in 100 years. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, $5 says that fire's from some moron lighting their campsite on fire by having an illegal fire. You always got it's not camping unless you have the fire, right? Jackass. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Hope you learned a thing or two. Look at it, all that beautiful andesite over there. You like the extrusive igneous rocks, do you? Some of the newest rock in California, only 100 years old. Well, more up that mountain, not so much this stuff, but maybe some of this stuff too. It was a rather large mushroom cloud from the photos I've seen of the 1918 explosion. Maybe it was 1917, I don't know. You know, it was 100 years ago. Well, that's all I got for you tonight. Have a good rest of your evening. Try not to be a prick. Go fuck yourself. Bye.